The lesson.
Oh yeah.
Right now, for me, I'm working on. I just dropped an EP, Sophisticated Ignorance, and like it was kind of like a little bit of a statement piece. Like, okay, I'm more than just the dance guy that people know me for in terms of production. It's still heavily influenced in bass music, but it's got a lot of like influence from hip hop and funk and reggae and like a lot of shit that I'm loving. So there was like, that was the statement piece. Like, okay, cool. You know, I'm not just this, like in terms of my producer skills, it's not just Kronic, this single dance, like single release guy. The next shit that I'm working on will probably be, it was going to be an EP, but it's looking like it might be an album, and it's called Poison right now. And it's like, I just want to write a concept album that's kind of based around my life and like dealing with my addiction to alcohol, drugs, and toxic relationships. And so like, I kind of feed off that when I'm writing. And, you know, it's just been amazing. Like all the songwriters and musicians that I've worked with along the way in writing all of this pop stuff, we're now kind of like, I'm getting them in sessions to work on like a bunch of shit for me, which is like crazy.
Now it's interesting because you describe your album as sort of telling your story, and you mention alcohol, drugs, and toxic relationships. So give us a bit of insight into, because as someone who's been touring not only Australia, but you're going, you know, all over the world, tell us about some of these tours and how those three things, you know, have played a role.
I mean, as a touring DJ, you kind of, in the eyes of a fan, you're a party animal, you're a drinker, you do drugs, and you fuck a heap of bitches. You fuck a heap of women. But that's what that's kind of the stigma around it. And especially like, I get on stage and I fucking yell and I'm jumping around and I act like, you know, when I'm there, I want to be wild. And, you know, so like, that's all well and fun every now and again, but when that's your life, it sometimes can take control of you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a normal person. I deal with anxiety every day as well, and that's a heavy topic in what I'm writing at the moment. And so, you know, like, it's hard to fucking, you work so hard to do all this shit. When you're there, you want to enjoy it, and, you know, having a drink, taking some doing a bit of coke and like picking up is fucking fun, you know, like we all want to do that shit, and I still probably will do that shit, but like, you know, then there's the downtimes from it, and there's the like the effects to your health and your relationships. And, you know, in terms of my choice of women, I like bad girls, so, you know, all my relationships have been pretty damn toxic and pretty damn crazy. They've either been like strippers or like, yeah, let's kind of, I won't go too deep into that, but I'm a freak, so I like freaks. But then I like writing about that, and so that's why a lot of the stuff that I'm writing at the moment, I kind of feel is really real and like hits home with me, because I've learned in the way that I write for my stuff, like when I'm writing a song, when I'm going into a session for me, when you go into a session to write records, I always got to think, okay, who are we writing this for? Okay, if I'm writing for someone else, someone has to come with the vision. If I'm writing for Pitt or John, or if I'm writing for any other artist, they're the ones with the vision. What are their vision? What do they want to say? That's what you're like, you know, that's what we're asking. What do you want to say? What do we want to do? What do we want these records to speak to people? So when we're writing for me, I need to come with that. And that's a skill that I need to work on. And that's why, like, I'm inspired by guys like Kanye West or Quentin Tarantino, because it's like my role, I feel, is like, I got to come with the idea, I got to come with the vision, and then I got to fill the room that I'm working in with as many talented people as I can from all different areas to then help tell that story as best as they can through songwriting, melodies, music, the whole package. You know what I mean? And so that's the skill that I've tried to improve on the most, is being able to come up with good ideas and then express them to the people that I'm working with, you know, and like I kind of realized that I could do that I was pretty good as a songwriter when I wrote this song called Poison, which is going to be on my next album. And it's about my addiction with alcohol, right? And it's kind of a two-sided thing. It's kind of a celebration of, yeah, he's this awesome drunk wild cunt, but then also it's taken him to rock bottom. You know what I mean? It's this both thing. And so and the way that was written, the concept for that record was like, I'm on my computer, I got a notepad, right? And so I'd like, okay, just write quotes from other songs, quotes from movies, things that I've like said and heard, like I'm never drinking again. You know, like when you wake up in the morning, oh, I'm fucking never drinking again. Oh, that was a wild night. Like that was a wild night in the quotes. I wrote down, in goes the liquor, out comes the arsehole, laid out on the asphalt. Like I just wrote that down, and that was in like this huge document of just all about, that's the concept for that record. And I got in with this writer, Nikki Jean, who's all over my album, the Sophisticated Ignorance album, and she's listening to the beat that we had for her, and she's looking through this thing, and she's like, oh, in goes the liquor, out comes the arsehole, laid out on the asphalt. She's like, that's the first few lines of the hook, right? And at that point, I was like, I can write this shit, you know? So it's the same way I'm treating this, and I'm a bit like going veering because this album is kind of everything to me, but like, I want to write a short film about it too, which whether I shoot it or not is another thing, because that's a whole different ball game. But as long as the vision's there, okay, so if I have the vision of like I'm going to write a song about my alcohol addiction, I'm going to turn that into a song, I get in with a songwriter. If I want to turn that into a scene for a movie, I get to get in with the script. You know what I mean? It's like, so as long as I have the vision, then I can get the skilled people to then come in and help me with it. I go into a session with a musician when I need to write the chord progression for that. So the lyrics are like, in goes the liquor, out comes the arsehole, laid out on the asphalt, crashed your shit, but it's your fault. You know how I get when I'm fucked up. You brought me this cup, now I'm fucked up. Who you calling an arsehole? Ain't that what you asked for? Arsehole, bottoms up, shot after shot, rock bottoms up, in goes the liquor. Like, to me, like, it tells my story, and that's why, like, I was like, fuck, I can do this, man. Like, I've got so many crazy stories and like so much like ups and downs from this life that I've lived, that I want to be able to tell that. And yeah, all I got to do is write it down and then get in with the right people to express it. So
that joint sounded dope.
I'll show you a couple of things. Like,
that sounds catchy as fuck, and just, yeah.
And that's what I'm excited about, is that all of this, so like there's a few people that have helped write all this stuff and a lot of my pop stuff. And one, Xavier Dunn, is this singer-songwriter from Sydney. One is Nikki Jean, who's this amazing songwriter from Philly. I met her in LA. She's on Lupe Records. She's been on tour with Kanye. She's got songs with Bob Dylan, Burt Bacharach. Like, she's, you know, good friends with Chino XL. Like, she's a G in the game, right? And she's helped me with so much of this stuff. This guy, Israel Bell, who's in a similar boat, a songwriter from LA, Paddy Crash and Mike Jers. Like, they're kind of my squad, and they've helped me write all this shit. But I met most of them, pretty much I met all of them in pop sessions, writing pop music, right? Writing for the Pitbull sessions, writing for some of the other artists that we've tried to pitch for. I met Nikki in that situation. I met Jers there. I met Izzy. I met Zave there. And we'd worked on these pop records, and they were pretty good. So, you know, like, we're thinking, you know, the concept is radio records, rah, rah, rah. And then after the session's done, after we've got our work done, we're like, okay, let me play you some of my shit. They do the same. And then we're like, we find this common ground. So there's this like, a lot of the writers and musicians I've been working with come from like the introduction is this pop world, and then we go and expand. And that's why I'm trying to, you know, as a DJ, you're forever trying to cut the fat of a record. I need like, yeah, that record's hot, but I only want like, let me take that intro off. You know, we got to get to the hook quicker. So that's my mentality when I'm writing these records. Yes, they got to be as real as fuck for me, but I want them to have that catchy formula. I want them to be, you know, something that people can enjoy and listen to. And, you know, you try keep the formula of a hit in a record that's as real as shit. And like, to me, that's the most amazing type of music, you know?
The last 2-7. Oh yeah.